Good morning everyone, my name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me today. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, just hit the subscribe button if you're new to watching my videos. There's also a little bell in there if you wish to be notified when my videos go up for viewing. I do record and upload, so when you see this video it'll be in there, of course. I have a Facebook page called Cards by Laura. In there I put all my workshop cards, my class cards, any cards that I've created. They don't have tutorials or anything with them, but if you need to know any measurements or instructions, I'm happy to help you out. You can just private message me on that. My name, if you type in Laura Stranks, you'll find me. I've also got a large Facebook group. It's got over 8,000 members in there now. I love my Facebook group. It's called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. I do regular live videos in there every week, and there's all in the files section there. There's all the written tutorials for a lot of cards. The tutorials for these YouTube cards are also in there, as well as lots of photos of cards. The ladies in there, and I think there's a couple of gentlemen in there, they do like to share their creations in there. It's not exclusive to Stampin' Up!, so if you wish to join that, just hop on in there. There are 2 questions in there that you need to answer when you apply to join. One is why you wish to join the group, and also you agree to the rules of the group. They're not difficult questions. If you don't see the questions, maybe you're on your phone and they don't pop up, maybe hop onto a PC or a iPad or something like that, and you'll find the questions there. My YouTube channel that you're watching at the moment is called Creative Gems, and I've been doing videos for over 12 months now and doing well in that. So we shall get started. This card I'm doing today, it's more like a little book. It's for Concertina Pocket Fancy Fold, and that's the front of it. That's the back of my card. I've used current designer series paper from the mini catalogue, and inside we've got a little bow that holds it together, and inside we have that. We've got a couple of little bookmarks in here that you can use as bookmarks, but if you don't wish to do the bookmarks, if you just want the card, you can put a little gift card in either side there, or just a little note to say Merry Christmas. You have got a writing panel on the back that you can use, but it doesn't necessarily need the bookmarks if you don't want to do them. This is the concertina part at the bottom. It's very easy to create. There's just lots of pieces, and I've prepped everything beforehand, so we shall get started. I'll just put that aside, just checking, make sure my lights are off, which they are, my overhead lights. Now we'll start with the base, and I've already put there's a couple of pages of measurements for this one. Now my outer base, now there's 2 bases here. There's this outer one here, and then this inner one here that sits in on top of the outer one. It's cut on an angle here. So the outer base, and I've used garden green on this one. It's 8 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I've already scored them at 4 1/8 and 4 5/8 on the long side. So that gives me that little book type fold, the fold in the center of the card, the hinge, what we call a hinge. So that's that one. I'll put all these up there as I go. My inner base, which is slightly smaller than the outer one, it's the same height but a different width, so it's not protruding outside the I'm pretty sure, yes, it's exactly the same height. So it measures 8 1/2 by 5 3/4, and I've scored that at 4 inches and 4 1/2. So you've got that little 1/2 inch hinge in the center there that puts the 2 together. My concertina piece, it measures 10 1/2 by 2 1/4, 10 1/2 this way, and on that I've scored, yes I have scored it, at one, they're all at 1 3/4 increments, so you're going to go at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 7 inches. Don't worry about 7 and 8 3/4. Don't worry about writing them down. They will be in the description box and also on the written tutorial in my group. So all these measurements will be in there. I've already scored that piece as well. These are the bookmarks. They measure 5 inches long, but I just went, because I'm going to tag top these with a punch, which is that there. It's 2 inches wide, but if you go a tad under, it fits easily in the punch. I'll show you the punch we're using. This one here, the widest one in that is 2 inches wide, but if you go a tad under that, it fits more comfortably in that slot to punch it out. So I've got here 5 inches by a tad under 2 inches, and there's 2 of those for your bookmarks. Coordinating cardstock, which is the backs here. I've used cherry cobbler. This is for the back mat on the outer card. Those 2 at the back there. They measure 3 7/8 by 5 1/2. There's 4 of those. The other two are inside, and the other 2 are on the front and back. So that's those red ones there. So you'll need 4 of those, the same size. They're 5 1/2 by 3 7/8. And then the DSP on these, I'm using this pattern at the front. It measures 5 3/8 by 3 3/4. So I've got 2 of those. And then the inside one, which will go to the back behind the bookmarks there. They're the same size, 5 3/8 by 3 3/4, and there's 2 of those. So you can choose all the same pattern, but I've chosen 2 different patterns. So that's that one. Then we have the middle card bases, which these I'm going to cut on an angle so they will fit in. We're going to cut that the inside base piece as well, but the total measurement before you cut is 5 1/2 by 3 3/4, and there's 2 of those, which are the red ones in there. And then I'll show you how we measure that to cut it. That'll come back in a sec. And then the DSP on those measures 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. 5 5/8 by 3, and we're down here now. We have design 1 and design 2. This is design 1, which is going to the front of the inside section, which is here, and it's the same as the front of the card as well. So that's 3 3/4. Where am I? 5 3/8, 3 3/4. Oh, that's the DSP. Design 1, 3 3/4 by 5 3/8. Inside outer. 5/8 by 5 3/8. That's this one here. Sorry, design 1, 2 of the front of the inner card base. So that's this one in here. That's that one there. I've got 2 of those. My bookmark mats. We're back over onto this next one, the Concertina piece. The mats, I haven't got it there. It should be over here somewhere. Bookmark mats, here we are here, 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. There's 2 of those. That's that piece. And then the DSP is 3 1/2 by 1 5/8. That was over there. 3 1/2 by 1 5/8. Design 2. That's there, 3 1/2 by 1 5/8. 2 of those. So that's that one. These are the little pieces for the Concertina. So we've got, and I've already glued these together, I've got some of each design. The mats are here. Coordinating cardstock, Concertina middle layers match, 2 inches by 1 1/2. There's 6 of those, and that's in the cherry cobbler. And then back over here, the DSP for the bookmarks. I've got two of one design. So 2 of that design, 2 of that design, and 2 are just white, which I've stamped on. That's those two there, and I've already decorated them. They are 3.5 by 1 and no, that's not them. That's the bookmarks. Sorry, I'm up here. Design 1 and design 2. So they're all the same size, 1 and 7/8 by 1 and 3/8. That's for the DSP and your white pieces if you decide to stamp on those. Just put those aside. I'll just go through what we've got left. Leave that one over there. My back writing mat is just a plain blank white piece. It's 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, and then the front coordinate, it's the same size as the front, this one here in the cherry cobbler, 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, and then the smaller mat at the front. I've die cut those with a stitched rectangle die, and it measures 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. So that's those pieces. That's all we've got in the cardstock. Now I'll show you how we go about cutting and scoring. So we'll start with these bases. I'll leave the Concertina one. This is the outer base, which doesn't need any cutting. It's just a matter of, I've already scored it. I gave you the score measurements. All this will be on the in the tutorial for your scoring and your, if you go ahead and cut all your pieces first, it's much easier to understand. So that gives you that little hinged, like a book inside. And then this one here is the inside one. There's not much difference in size. I think it's 8 1/4. Where am I? 8 3/4 and 8 1/2. So there's only 1/4 inch difference in size, and that's on the length of it, so it fits nicely inside the other one. The height is still the same. So we're going like so. And now with these, I'll just get my tutorial notes here. The inner score, I've scored that, done that. I think I wrote it on. This one's got to come up 2 1/8. So you'll need your, well, I use my trimmer, which is easy. If you double check, make sure you've got the right one. So you want the smaller one on the inside. So that fits in there. You can see it's a bit smaller on the width. So we'll get this one. And from the bottom, it doesn't matter which is top and bottom, from the bottom edge here, so you're on the short side, you're going to measure up, doesn't matter which way I go, 2 1/8. And just put a little pencil mark on there. This is the one we're going to cut. 2 1/8 there, and 2 1/8 over this side. That's the same all the way. Now you're going to cut from that pencil line up to the top, to the outside score line. So outside on this one and outside on that one. So that's my outside, my top outside score line. If you put that in the track and put the pencil mark, not the bottom, the pencil mark there in the track and the score line there in the track. And we shall cut that piece off and then go the same angle but over to the other score line. So you're going to put the score line there in the track, move that around to the pencil line, make sure they're both lined up, just make sure they're right exactly in the track. You get a nice neat card then, and we'll cut that off. So that's the inside card. I'll just trim that a little bit. It's a little bit furry there. And that will go inside this one. But before you put that one in, we'll cut the other pieces in a minute. This, you need to put these mats in. I'm putting these two on the inside, like so. There's my score lines, they'll fit, and they've got the 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. I'm just going to use my liquid glue to put them in. It'll be much quicker. This card might take a little while to assemble, but It's quite relatively simple to make. We'll slot that one in there. You need to put these in before you put the other layer on the inside. And this one will go on this side. I've kept the other, what I like as the nicer pattern of the two for my front and back. We can put those on. Before we put the front ones on, we need to, and the back ones, we need to put the ribbon under. We've got some ribbon there to put underneath, so we can tie them off at the side. Make sure you do that before you put the front ones down. So that's like that. Now I'm just going to measure halfway. Excuse me while I have a mouthful. I get really croaky when I non-stop talking. I need a ruler. I'll just get my longer ruler out. My good old trusty ruler. Now, I'm a little bit OCD. I like to measure. It's 5 3/4 long, so that will be 2 1/2, 2 7/8. 5, 2 1/2 is 1/2 3/4 is 1/8. So halfway, 2 7/8 is there, and 2 7/8. So this is just where you're going to put your ribbon. You can eyeball it if you like, which is there. And I'm just going to put some bits of tear and tape, which my roll is nearly empty, but we'll get enough out of it for this. There's the end of it. So I'm just going to put a strip of tear and tape across there. I've had my scissors out. I meant to stick that on there because it's going to keep moving, but that's okay. And another piece on this side. This is just to secure the ribbon. I've cut my ribbon. Just make sure you need 2 pieces at 6 inches long, which is these two. They're for the card, and 2 pieces at 7 inches long for your bookmarks. They're optional if you don't do your bookmarks. You don't need those. And my pick tool. And we'll just slot those on top of the tape, like so. That's about middle of the card. Then we can go ahead and make sure your trees are up the right way. We can go ahead and put these other 2 mats on the front. This was my design one, so they're going to go on there. One will be on the front. This one, I don't think it had a direction of paper. Looks like it could go either way, so I'm not too worried about that. And another piece on this side. We better take the post-it note off. I think I prefer the post-it notes on all the things instead of doing that other table of directions. It's easier to read from the post-it notes. You don't need to copy any of it down. It will be in the files section of my group. If you can't find the files tab, if you're on your phone, just swipe left. It'll come across. Some people message and say, I can't find the files tab. Should have put that. I'll put some tape over that after. So that's that piece. Now we've already cut this piece. But before we put it in there, I'm going to decorate it. That will sit in there exactly top and bottom, and it follows the score lines that are down. It will line up with the red mat on the insides here. It's the same width as the red mats. and even down that way. I'm going to put a strip of tear and tape. I'll put that on now, and then we can insert it later. We can decorate this first. I'm going to put 2 strips, and I'll just show you how because one will overlap. So when you go to peel the backing off, you peel the backing of the underpiece first, and that way it'll stick down the top layer easily without curling up. I'll show you that in a minute. That will go down the centre. Now we're going to cut these other pieces. I haven't done these yet. This is the mats for the inside. I hope I did that one right. It says 2 1/8 on this. I think this one should have been 2 1/4. Hang on, yes, it should have been. I might just cut another one of those and I'll use that later. Just bear with me 1 minute. I should have double checked that before I cut it. This should have been measured up 2 1/4, not 2 1/8. So I shall recut that piece. I'll just get the measurements that I need. I'm getting a bit of a mess here. 8.5 by 5 3/4. I'll go 5 3/4. This is just starting it again, so I don't confuse you. Otherwise, I'll have to cut all the other pieces down to size if I do it wrong to start. And 8.5. And then we'll score that at outer inner 4 and 4.5. That's 4 and 4.5. I can use the other piece and make a smaller card later. I'll need that again in a minute, just for cutting. Roll that again and burnish. Easy fix. And then we're going to measure up the sides at 2 1/2. And I'll just double check. Pencil mark up on the bottom of the side. It is 2 1/4. Maybe I did do it right the first time. And then 2 1/8. 2 1/4. I'll just get the piece that I started with. It is 2 1/4, so we'll go back to the original one. It's 2 1/4. I haven't got the post-it note that I should have in the base. 4, 4.5. I didn't write it on there. I've written it on here. Adhere dears, Concertina. That one, pencil mark up from the bottom on either side of the base at 2 1/4. So unless I did 2 1/8, I might have done 2 1/8. Yes, I did do 2 1/8, and it should be 2 1/4. We'll go this way. 2 1/4 up the side. Sorry to confuse you. We're going 2 1/4 up this side. It's the mat that's 2 1/8. 2 1/4 there, and 2 1/4 here. So that's there. Then we'll cut from that top there over to here on both sides. And from this score line on this side at 2 1/4 down that way. You'll notice, I'll make sure I get the right one. Yes, that one's further down, so we'll put that one away and we'll go back to the correct one. Now these pieces, these go at 2 1/8. same thing. If you put them together like so, excuse me again, and these were going up at 2 1/8. So we've got 2 1/8, which is there, and 2 1/8 on this side. I'll turn it this way, it's just as easy. 2 1/8 on this side, and you're going to cut from, make sure you mirror image these, cut from this one across here, put the point in the track and the pencil mark in the track. So it's exactly in that track. Cut that one off. That one goes there. And this one's the other side, so it'll come from this side across, from that point there to the pencil mark here. 2 1/8. Once we get all these pieces cut, it'll be clean sewing. Now I'll put those there. I'll cut the DSP while we're doing that. And I've got this pattern here, and it goes up exactly the same type of thing, but it's up 2 inches on the DSP. So you're going 1/8 of an inch smaller each way. I've actually marked these already. So that's up 2 inches, and this one's up 2 inches from the sides of your DSP. So then you're going to cut from that point there down to the 2 inches. I thought I made it quite simple, and then I mucked it up for myself. So we'll slice that piece off, and this side from that point in the centre, that point on that side, I should say, down to the pencil mark on this side. And we'll slide that off. Now if these don't line up as well at the bottom, it doesn't matter because you won't see it. The concertina piece will be over the top of it. It's always difficult when you do an angle cut to get the angles exactly right. I'm just rubbing out those pencil marks like so. Now so long as you get, it's only a 1/16, so long as you get your 1/16 there, there and there, don't worry about the bottom piece if it's not lined up exactly. This one's not too bad actually, but it's not going to bother me to have it a little bit out at the bottom. I shall get my mat, my silicone mat. This DSP is in the mini catalogue for, I think it was, I don't know what date it started. It goes till December, the next mini catalogue. It's all the Christmas paper and things. So that one there, just make sure your little border is around that one, and that one. That's the only ones you're going to see. The bottom you're not going to see. Just try and line it up as neatly as you can. And the same with this one. It's a bit of a cloudy day here today, but it's not too bad. I've been a demonstrator for close on 8 years. It'll be 8 years in a couple of months. Love what I do. I love Stampin' Up! Products. So that one is lined up pretty well, even on those sides. The bottom is a little bit off, but that's okay. Move that down a little bit. Just wiggle it around until you get it fairly even. And then these will go on here, and I've yet to put the tear and tape down the back of this. Now, when you put these on, you only want tape so you can create a, no, sorry, it's when you put them onto the card. So we're going to put these straight onto here. Nearly told you the wrong thing again. I was a little bit flustered this morning. I was trying to get my live video to work, and I couldn't get it to go into landscape view. It would only record in, well, doing a live in, it would only do it in portrait, and I was getting so frustrated. I ended up at the local electrical JB Hi-Fi, where we get our products from, asking him, and he said, try uninstalling Facebook and reinstall it, which is what I did, and it fixed it after a couple of hours of frustrating. So now I've got an even border, a 1/8 inch border up there, and there. The bottom doesn't matter. It's not hanging, so long as it's not hanging over the bottom, but the concertina piece is going to come in on top of that. So that's the main part that you need to worry about. And this piece will go on the front of that. Same with this one, it's 1/8, a little 1/8 inch border all the way around. And as you can see, it's different to the other side. You just struggle getting the angles right when you do an angle cut, but you won't notice it. So that's those two. Then I'll put this tear and tape down the center. I think it's going to last the roll. Actually, I will get another one out because I know I'm going to need some more for the next part of it. But we'll put those two down there first. Now, before I adhere that down, I'm going to put the tear and tape. You only need the tear and tape down these two sides and across the bottom. This is left open for you to put your bookmarks or your gift card in. So we'll see how we go with this tear and tape. I might have to hop up and get another roll out, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going to put one down each of these sides and one across the bottom, like so, just to that score line there, and the same on the other side. And this will adhere it into the front piece. Another piece up to there. Just make sure you don't put it up here. That's where you want it left open. Just going to burnish over the top of that tear and tape so it's stuck down nicely. Now we'll do the centre first and get it lined up. My pick tool, which is here. Whoops. That's right, we're going to do the underside first. If you pick up your underside piece, because one is over the top of the other in the middle, that will push that down completely. Then you can take off your top one. Much easier than trying to pull the top one off first. Now this here, it's going to go in the center. It's the same width as the one underneath, and you want to line it up with the top of the card and down those score lines on the inside. If you just hold it up until you're ready to get it in line, like so. It's even on that side and that side. And it'll end up, this edge here will end up level with the red on that side. I've got a pencil line there I'm going to rub out, right there. And it's nice and even along the bottom, pretty much. It's a little bit out, but I'm not too worried about that. That's fine. That up there's got a tiny little bit hanging over, so I'll just straighten that off. And that's that piece. Now you can go and take these pieces off and close your card shut. So this will just come straight across and it will line up with that red piece. This is where I might push that up a little bit so it can sit on there evenly. Give that a good push down, and the same with this side. And we get it up. Close that across and push that down. So it ends up like so. Nicely. Just use that to tie off. That's those pieces. Now our Concertina base piece, I've already scored that. It's at 1 3/4 inch pieces. So I've gone 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 7 and 8 3/4, and then you end up with another 1 3/4, and it goes with you'll have, I'll show you the original card. You'll start off with a valley that way. We'll burnish these as we go, getting your lines nice and straight. Put that aside. So valley, mountain, valley. If it's the wrong way around, you can just turn it the opposite way and it'll work out for you. It's just concertina all the way across. And burnish those nicely. So it will sit on like so, like that. Now we'll decorate these first. I've got all the pieces cut for these. I've got 6 of these. I'll start with, doesn't matter which way I do it, we'll do those on the ends. Put that one there, we'll put a greeting and a greeting, and no, that one there, might go that one. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. That's why they're reasonably synchronized across the concertina piece. So put those on there. You can put the same DSP all the way across if you wish. It doesn't have to be all matchy-matchy. These little embellishments that I've put on, they're the adhesive back glitter sequins in the, I'm pretty sure they're in the mini catalogue as well. So they're a nice green. They go nicely with the garden green that I've chosen. So, and the ribbon that I chose was this. It's one of the in colours from last season, metallic woven ribbon, and it's in the parakeet party. It's quite doesn't look like the parakeet party to me, so it went nicely with the garden green as well. And it's pretty much the same as these little sequins as well. I do like matching things up if I can. All of these will fit nicely in these little squares all the way across. This is the easy bit, assembling. We've got a little decoration for the front, and the bookmarks don't take too long. Move that down a bit. This is the boring bit when you watch a video and someone has to glue all these little pieces on. That's why I did the DSP on the mats to start with, so you didn't have too much watching of sticking down. And that last one on there. And then we'll bring this back in. So this outside one will go, these go level with the, you can do it, I think it went level with the outside of the card. So I'll go back to the outside of the card. Excuse me, coughing. So we're just going to put glue on one of the outside sections at the back. You can put tear and tape on this. Make sure you've got your whole thing up the right way. And it will go directly down in the corner above, over the top of everything else that's down there, so you don't see that bottom piece. And then we'll just flap that back, and we'll put glue on this end, and it will glue to the other side. Pretty easy to do once you've got all your cuts right. So that one will go over that side, right in the corner, level at the bottom and the sides. Stick that down, and it will close itself. I'll just wait for a minute to have it close itself. It will close up like so, nice and neat down that edge. Now we shall do these bookmarks. That's all we've got left to do, and put the decoration on the front. So I did get the punch out. A tad under that 2 inches, it slides nicely into this slot. If you do it exactly 2 inches, it's sort of hard to get it in place. Turn it over and have a look at the back. Make sure it's nice and even. Punch that, and I'm going to corner around the other end as well. Just slide that in right to the end. Make sure it's even. Thread those ribbons through as well, and then these we're just going to corner around the mats and corner around the DSP. I'll show you the one I've done here. My corner rounder, which I forgot to get out. It's Stampin' Up! Don't have a corner rounder at the moment, but this is a retired one. So we're just going to put this, I'll get it on the right side. Just put that flush in there. Excuse if my camera wobbles, because it's attached to my desk. Go that one in that corner, which I know I didn't get square in the corner. It's better. That's those, and then the mats is just on one end. Make sure it's square in the punch, otherwise it doesn't cut a nice round corner. And the same with the DSP. It's just a matter of putting all those together and putting a bit of ribbon out the top. And we'll finish off the front of the card as well. Let's get rid of all that. I'll get my silicone mat again so I'm not getting glue all over my workspace. This is just decoration. You can decorate however you like. There's no special way of decorating. We don't have daylight saving here in Queensland, so depending where you live, it might be at a different time for you. I record it, or upload at Queensland time, which is 9 AM on a Monday morning. So if you live somewhere else, you'll just have to keep an eye. It should notify you. If you've hit that little bell, it should have notified you when the video is there to watch. Getting all crooked here. Put that one on there. You could decorate these a bit more, but I think if I gave the card to someone, I'd be more inclined to put a gift card in it instead of bookmarks. I'm not sure how many people use bookmarks these days. I know I don't. I don't do a lot of reading. I do my crafting most of the time. Not so much reading. Don't get time to read. And my bits of ribbon for these, I find the easiest way, and I've burnt the ends of these. I've just got a little gas flicker lighter, and I just hit it under there with the flicker, and it sealed the ends of the ribbon. You can do that with any ribbon. And then I'm going to poke these through from the back to the front, like so. It just stops the ends fraying. And then loop that through like so, and it gives you a nice little loopy bit at the front. And the same with this one, and I have burnt the ends of that as well. I did see a video the other day where a lady burnt the ends. Go back to from back to front to thread them. That way you get the little loopy piece in the front. Peel that through and tighten it. So that's the two bookmarks. They will just slot in so. Nearly done. Close that up. That one goes over there. And wherever I put my other pieces, the decoration pieces, they're here somewhere. Probably underneath something. Where will I put them? Right over here in the corner. That's them. Always get a mess at the side here, but lucky you can't see that. So we'll close that up. That's my front. So I've got this to go on the front, and I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals just to give it a little bit more texture. It's already fairly thick, so a little bit more is not going to hurt. Nearly out of dimensional. I think my glue dots are just about to the end of the roll as well, but I've got more there, so I'll get all new ones out soon. Tearing tape's just about out. Everything's finishing at the same time, which is unusual. Up the right way. Just put that in the centre there. Nice and straight. And a little writing panel on the back. I'll leave it flat. So if you put it up and someone goes to write on it, it's going to be a little bit hard to write with dimensionals underneath it. We'll just leave that blank. You could put a little bit of decoration on that if you wanted to. I would prefer it blank. And now when I tie my, excuse me, let those out that way. When I tie a bow, so it ends up right way up, I turn my, whatever I'm tying it on, upside down. That way your bow ends up the right way up. Don't ask me why, it's just theory. That could go to the front a little bit. Doesn't really matter on this because it's on the side anyway. But on any card, if you want a bow to be right way up, sitting on the front of your card, turn your card upside down and tie your bow, and then it ends up right way. So that's my project for today. I hope you enjoyed that. That's my other sample one that I started with, which is that one there. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you wish to join my Craft Room Tips and Tutorials page, hop on in there and just send a request to join, and I shall put you in my group. I hope you enjoyed all of that today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again next week. Bye for now.